We are live. Good morning,
Yay.
everybody, or happy noon if you're on the East Coast. I am
Mhm.
Lawrence Winterman. This is the Daily Whatever Show. Happy National Coming Out Day.
Woo.
October 11th is always National Coming Out Day, and I am really happy to be joined today by Aidan Wharton and friend of the show, Brandon Ellrich. Guys, thank you so much for being here. How you doing?
Doing
Great.
great.
Wonderful.
Both of us great. Happy coming out day.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy Coming Out Day.
Yeah.
Hooray. It's funny, right? Like I'm Gen X. National Coming Out Day. I remember when they started doing it,
Mhm.
and I was kind of like, oh, that's a little scary. Coming Out Day almost seems like forcing people to come out or really kind of setting the expectation. And uh, I got to admit, it really means something to
Yeah.
actually kind of be out there and show up as your true authentic self in the world. Um, Aiden, you're new to me. We're just meeting for the first time, and maybe new to some of the people on the show. Tell us about yourself. How did you get here, and what do you think of National Coming Out Day?
How did I get here? What a fun question.
Right, right.
Um,
Interpret any way you want.
okay, great. I was born in Seattle but moved to Hawaii when I was 6 months old. So I
Oh,
grew up in
okay.
Hawaii. Grew up in a yurt in the middle of the jungle. And my process, well, I came out my like between my junior and senior years of high school. And fast forward, I went to school for musical theater. I was an actor for a while. I toured with Wicked, did stuff on Broadway and toured. And now I am so happy to be fully in the Substack world. Yeah, I read a Substack called Gay Buffet, which is gay culture and a sex column. And that's how I got here.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we've got the Seattle connection. I'm in Indiana right now, which is
Okay.
where I was born. My family is here, but I lived in Seattle for 30 years.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and Actually thinking about it, probably I lived there when you were born there.
1995?
I was there.
There we go. There we go.
Nice. Well, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
Brandon, you are a regular on the show. I feel like, we've had you on a couple times. The people here know you and adore you. But just in case, we've got
Well,
some new audience members. Tell us who you are. How did you get here?
whoa, how did I get here? Well, I started out on WordPress. Had a blog on there, and I self-published a book and wanted to kind of build an audience or whatever. And I don't know, I couldn't really monetize anything there. I mean, they had ads, but they were like, I made like a few cents for it. Wasn't really worth it. So then I found out about Medium, went on there a few years ago. I was on there for, I don't know, 3 years or something like that. I kept hearing about Substack, and I don't know, from some people I was hearing, it seemed like it was more for professional writers. Like had to have a professional niche or something like that. I was
Right.
like, well, that doesn't really sound like me. But then other people from Medium that I knew were starting to migrate over and writing on there, kind of in the same genre. Well, Robin Wilding was one of them. She's in here now. But
Oh, that
um,
Robin Wilding.
oh yes. So I was like, well, if they can do it, then I should be able to do it, right? So I started one, and I started it in December of last year. Really started to write regularly in January. So I haven't been on here a year yet,
Yeah, but
but
you've
I've
been
been,
taking off lately. You've really, I feel like, started to get big. Aiden, you're already big, at least in my mind. You've got a ton of followers. Brandon, your stuff is really starting to click, I think. And which is
yeah,
really exciting.
I'm gaining paid subscribers and stuff, and I'm trying to I do audio podcasts and write articles and go on live videos. I'm just trying to do it all just to get
Right.
whoever I can. Yeah.
He dances. He
Yeah.
does show tunes.
You cook.
I do not dance.
Oh, come
That
on.
is
Come on. We're
that
gay. All of us dance at least a little.
I was just about to say that is not a gay stereotype that fits me.
Yeah. Well,
I cannot dance.
fashion and grooming are not the gay stereotypes that I inherited. I've got the
Same.
singing, dancing, writing,
Oh
graphic
yeah.
design piece, but dressing fashionably, I've tried my entire life. I can't do it.
I don't know. I think that shirt is very cute.
Well, thank you. I mean, it was appropriate for today. Gay as
Yeah.
fuck. It's just true. Although roaming around Fort Wayne, Indiana, wearing the shirt is not a good idea. The
Mm-hmm.
side eye that I get is of epic proportions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
it's similar for me. I'm in the state of Missouri or Missouri, however you want to pronounce that,
right. However they're
But
pronouncing it these days.
but yeah, it's very rural in this area, and yeah, I definitely get some looks. Well, I even get looks just going out if I put on a little bit of makeup and have earrings and stuff like that. That's even a little too much for some people,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I would imagine. I would imagine. Hey, everybody out there, go and touch the hearts for these two guys. Tell them thanks for showing up today and
Thank
being willing
you.
to talk to me about National Coming Out Day. Um, I'd love to hear about each of your coming out stories, and of course, I'm happy to share mine too. I mean, on National Coming Out Day, I figure this is the perfect time to kind of talk about what it was like. Aidan, I'd love to hear what your experience was like.
Yeah.
Were you one of those guys who was like out from the age of 5, or did it take time to?
It took time. Also, wait, because I'm not looking festive, I do have my National Coming Out Day mug, where as it gets
Ooh,
hot,
oh,
all of these famous icons will come out of the closet.
love.
It's very fun.
nice.
I didn't come I wasn't like I like had a girlfriend every year sort of up until my junior year of high school was my method of processing.
Right,
But I did a lot of theater, and my school was like very academics focused, so it wasn't that it like couldn't have been a possibility. I just like took the time to process and figure it out. I think looking back, you're always like, oh yeah, there were the signs. I just didn't put them together till like sophomore, junior year, and then I was like, you know, bisexual for a moment, and then came out to like myself, I would say like my junior year of high school in like spring, did some like I came out to like my family around then, some close friends, and then like publicly right before my senior year of high school.
yeah,
Um, which was fun. I was student body president, so then I was like, and like had a long distance boyfriend at the time, so I was like, no one can tell me anything.
right. Was he in
Um,
Canada? Was your long distance boyfriend in Canada?
he actually was in New York. It actually was like a crazy, crazy story. I did the Emerson College pre-college like summer program in Boston between my junior and senior year. And a friend of mine was going to school in New York from Hawaii, and she was like, "Hey, there's this guy. I think he's really cute. Like, when you come to New York next year for college, like, I'll set you two up." And I ended up getting so badly delayed on my way to Boston through JFK. I was there for like 13 hours that she and him came from Manhattan to JFK just to hang out, which is crazy in retrospect.
Right.
And we like totally hit it off. And then he like took the train up to Boston while I was there. And so he was my boyfriend for my senior year of high school. And I was like, now I'm gay and I have this hot boyfriend and student body president. So like you can't fuck with me. And
Seriously,
then we
you were
did a
like
big thing.
the Elle Woods of your.
I mean, kind of. And then for National Coming Out Day, I remember like I wore like an I Heart My Boyfriend shirt. I like made it a whole thing. So it was a lot of fun. Hawaii is very blue, interestingly conservative as well, but my school was like really supportive. My family were really supportive. I was very lucky.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
That's
something I was
amazing.
just about to ask, like how your family took that.
Yeah. I mean, my dad is like truly the loveliest, sweetest. My mom is so wonderful. My dad sort of knew. I remember he asked me once, he was like, "Do you like boys or girls?" And I was like, "I don't know." And like, I was in the car, I drove away. So he sort of knew. And my mom was like a little more caught off guard, but they were so supportive and so lovely. I'm sure they'll watch this at some point. They read all my stuff, all my
Oh,
my sex column.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's great.
that's
Hmm.
amazing. What I love, Aiden, about your story is I'm not hearing a lot of harshness. Like it sounds like to me,
Yeah.
your experience was kind of lovely. Like you got to proceed at your own pace, and there wasn't, a great inner turmoil. it feels really natural, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was. There was like a little bit like I remember in like middle school, like intercepting a note from my friends being like, "Do you think Aiden's gay?" And so there was definitely a lot of like processing turmoil. I liked hanging out with girls more. I was a little bit more like energetic. I wouldn't say like quite flamboyant, but definitely not like as grounded as the other boys.
Sure.
So there was like definitely some like not fitting in, but not really a ton of bullying and any of that, which I'm really, really grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Brandon, what about you? What was your story like?
Well, in contrast,
Here we go, folks.
Take us on.
Buckle
yeah,
up.
uh, I was a lot more introvert. I still feel like I am still an introvert, but I was a lot more introverted when I was growing up, and especially junior high and high school. Well, I guess all the way through school, basically. But I grew up in a very conservative, religious household, and I knew that I was attracted to guys. Of course, in the locker room and stuff like that, you want to like, you know, take a peek and stuff. But I had to be very careful about not letting anybody else see me doing that.
Right, for sure.
But I mean, yeah, there were definitely rumors every once in a while, but I it may seem obvious now, but at the time, being very shy and introverted and everything, I didn't display any kind of uh, many signs of being gay or whatever. I didn't have a girlfriend or anything like that, but I wasn't the popular outgoing kid either. And then in college, I started to kind of explore my sexuality, went online and hooked up with guys, through the dating apps. And well, back then I don't think there were even apps. It was basically
Right.
like
It was a website.
personal, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
personal ads
Craigslist,
or
personal
whatever.
ads. Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, and then I kind of went backward. I was like, I hooked up with guys and everything, but I was like, I could never see myself being in a relationship with them because there's no way my parents would ever accept accept that. I would never be able to bring a guy home.
Right.
So I was like, I met a girl. We went out for a while. We we dated for like 6 months or something like that. Never had sex or anything, but um, I was trying to be straight. Basically, I was like, I trying to live this normal life, and I knew it wasn't going to work. I broke it off with her, and eventually I came out. I came out very gradually. I came out to my best friend at the time, and she set me up on a couple blind dates that didn't really work out. But it was like one of those things where she's like, "I know somebody that's gay.
Right. You must know
that's
each other.
that's how it works, right?
Mhm.
This gay guy and this gay guy, they'll live happily ever after.
Right, right. It's just so easy.
Yeah.
God, those
I mean,
moments are
I
sad.
appreciate the effort. I mean, she was
Yeah.
trying to help me out and everything.
Yeah.
That was great, but it just didn't work that way. But so I didn't. I just and that's not my personality either to come out to have a big a coming out party that like some people do or whatever, because still I knew that I wouldn't. I mean, if I had a coming out party, nobody would be there because I wouldn't have anybody that would support that in my life. My family, friends, community, the church I went to. No.
Sweetie, if you
And
invite me to your coming out party, I'm going to be there with bells on, okay?
Yeah.
right,
Right now,
right.
this could be a coming out party.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like we should have one now. I feel like we need to throw Brandon a coming out party.
Yes.
Yeah.
um
Congratulations, it's a gay.
so I don't know. I can't really define a moment. I guess the first time I expressed it to my best friend would be
Mhm.
the time that I came out initially. And
Yeah.
I was late 20. I was Aiden's age basically. Um and it went well with her. She already knew, of course. and she was trying to get me to come out. She's like, I know there's something you want to tell me, blah, blah, blah. She wouldn't say it, she wasn't going to out me, but she was kind of encouraged. She's like, I can help you. I was like, I don't think you can.
Right. Really, I'm not sure you guess how complicated this shit is.
Yeah. But, I eventually did tell her, and she's like, yeah, I know. And then, then she set me up on a couple of blind dates. But
big heart for your best friend who,
yeah,
was there patiently waiting,
right.
and not forcing you to come out. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So and I'm still, my parents know, my dad, now I won't go into all the details, but there was a situation where my dad at point blank asked me if I was gay, and I told him, yeah. And it didn't go well. It went exactly as how I expected it would.
Yeah.
He said, if you ever bring a guy home, nobody else will show up because, you'll be the only one there because nobody else will show up. Something like that, and
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what it is. I just, that's something I have to deal with. You can't make somebody change their minds or
Right.
change their whole how they've been raised and what they believe.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's just
it's got to happen within him, right? And it's a thing
right.
that it sounds like you recognize it may never happen with him.
Yeah, and I've got to be okay with it. It's not really okay, I guess, but I'm okay with it.
Right.
I'm just going to live my life anyway, and I may never be able to bring, if I meet a guy and we get married or whatever, I may never bring him home to the family. I don't know. I'd have to talk to him about that. I'd have to warn him, about if I do take you home, this is how she'll be received.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oof. I'm sorry. It sounds like I mean, tell me to shut up if you need to, but it sounds like there's still a lot of hurt going on inside you for what you're dealing with.
Yeah, I definitely wish it were different, but I've never had a close relationship with my dad. He was very different from me. He's a farmer, and he was into hunting and fishing and farming, and I wasn't into any of that. And he was trying to mold me into what he was and he wanted to be,
Right.
and it wasn't going to happen. So we've never really had a close relationship. I don't even want a close relationship with him. I would like a close relationship with a father, but
Right.
not with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? If that makes sense?
No, it
I wish
totally
It really does.
Yeah.
I wish I would have had someone different, or he would have been different, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry, Aidan, I think I cut you off. Were you gonna say something?
I was just agreeing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
I mean, it's so hard, Brandon, to realize that, that the parents we get are the parents we get, and you can't change them. And Aidan, it sounds like you were very lucky with your parents. And I mean, I feel lucky with mine. My mom has been wonderful. My dad passed when I was 14, and I play out the whole would he or would he not have appreciated me? Would he have rejected me, or would we have any kind of relationship? There's no way of knowing. I mean, Brandon, it sounds kind of crazy, but at least there's some honesty there, right? Like you know who your dad is. He's not
Yeah.
presenting a false front in any way. And, but I hear what you're saying. Like, it would be nice to have a dad, right? Like, it would be nice to have a relationship with a father figure. And I can relate. I didn't get to have that either. So I'm
Yeah.
really sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I still have a relationship with them. I still go to the family dinners and everything. We don't talk about gay shit,
Right. Or politics, probably, or
No, no, no. They talk about politics that I'm sure you can imagine what side they
I
lean.
can. I imagine there are lots of red caps floating around there.
Yeah, I haven't seen any that they own, but I wouldn't be
Red hat
surprised with that.
energy.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I just stay out of that conversation. I just do not engage whatsoever.
Yeah. I feel you. My coming out was, I really struggled. Up to and including I was incredibly depressed, and there was a moment where I was seriously on the verge of killing myself. And I've told this story on the show before. I I was not a popular kid. I was the chubby kid with glasses. I had, no idea kind of what my sexuality meant. So this is, I mean, I was in elementary school in the 70s and, in middle school and high school in the 80s. And it was just not okay, to be gay. I was growing up in South Florida, but, where there was actually an active gay nightlife that I had no idea existed there. I was just a kid. Um, but yeah, like coming out for me was really hard. I like went through a mourning process because I bought into the whole like Disney, like I'm going to get married and we're going to have a family and a cute house and 2.2 kids. And, you know, and there was kind of this like heartbreak moment where I was like, oh shit, I don't get to have any of that, because in the 80s, it kind of didn't seem like if you were gay that you could have any of that.
Right.
And, kind of compound on that. And Brandon, you and I have talked about this. Like I was coming out, kind of coming of age and figuring out how to come out right as the AIDS epidemic was at its worst, right? Like there was no PrEP. There was like condoms and a prayer, basically. And, oh, just don't fuck, like literally like the doctor advice at that time was, well, just don't have sex.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. You try
Yeah.
that too. I'll do it when
Yeah.
you do
Right.
it. So, I was living by myself not in Atlanta, but outside of Atlanta, when I was 23, 24, and I had this breakdown. I was actively plotting to go buy a gun at a pawn shop, and I had this kind of amazing epiphany, like this spiritual, one of the most profound spiritual experiences of my life, where the night before I was going to go buy the gun, I talked to God, and God talked back to me, or God, whatever you want to say, higher
Mhm.
self, great mystery, power of the universe, whatever it is, and I got this message that like, oh no, I'm okay. And it doesn't matter what other people think, because I had been so wrapped up in what other people thought about me. And that was kind of my liberation, and I decided that I was going to come out, and it was a rocky process, and it was definitely like I told my friends, my best friends at first, and everybody reacted well. Nobody reacted negatively. I'm not going to say it was positive necessarily, but there was a lot of like, oh yeah, we kind of thought this might be the case. And when I came out to my mom and my sister was sort of the same thing. But for me, I was also kind of I had a lot of like Disney programming. I don't know a better way to say it. Like I was like, okay, I'm gay, so now I'm gonna meet my prince. My prince is gonna come in every sense of the word, and we're gonna go be happy and buy a house with a white picket fence, right? And I've spent kind of a lot of years unprogramming that and deconstructing it to get to a point where I'm like, I could have an open relationship with a hot guy, and it's really cool, and we have fun, and and hey, that's not necessarily a thing I could have had if I had tried to, be straight my entire life. So,
Right.
um, I wanted to talk about National Coming Out Day though. So, have you guys had any experiences around this day in particular that have really stood out for you? Anything, and and maybe not. I feel like Pride Month is always kind of more the big reveal,
Mhm. I'm pause because I'm gonna get a photo that actually like
Ooh,
with the first one is my answer, but like the photo of me from that day is like so heartwarming and endearing
go
that
get
I
it. Go
wanted to
get it. All right, Brandon, you talk while Aiden is getting the photo.
accompany that. So I was like,
Well, I won't be able to say much because coming out day, it, it was not a thing for me, being in the closet most of the time.
Yeah.
But, I have gone to Pride events for the last several years. I think 2019 actually was my first one that I went to in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And that was a great experience. I didn't know really what to expect, and I went there and just felt so comfortable. You know, it was just, I don't know. I can't really. It's hard to describe the feeling really. Just of acceptance and comfort. You know, I didn't have to pretend to be anybody,
Right.
and I was also taken aback by the lack of clothing. You know,
Right.
I
And
had no
taken aback and
idea.
also delighted and titillated by the lack of clothing.
Oh yeah, I
What?
was fine with it. I was fine with it, but
Right, right.
I
No
was just
complaints.
surprised.
Yeah, there's kind of nothing like your first Pride event as a queer person, like that feeling of like, oh my God, I'm among my people. That I'm not sure we as queer folks really get that experience. I mean, I guess maybe like a club, right? You could go to a club and be surrounded by gay folks and have that feeling of, oh my God, everyone else here is like me. But a Pride event, I think, is particularly special.
Yeah.
Aiden, did you find the picture?
I found it. My iPod
Nice,
was dead, but we got it. We got it.
nice.
Yeah, this was the first my first national coming out day. I'm like, is the glare? There we go.
Aw.
But I literally was like, okay, I had these like fun little gay socks. And that was it. That was like senior year of high school. And I was like, okay. But I do remember like being so nervous about being so like enthusiastic about it. And
Right.
I mean, that's something I even like write about now or think about now. It's like being gay is probably like the biggest pillar of who I am. Like I remember when I did like my therapy intake form, we had our first session. My therapist was like, "So like being gay is really important to you." I was like, "It is.
And you're like, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is."
I'm here. I'm queer. Get used to it.
And just like, yeah, I don't know. There has always been sort of like a really inexplicable pull, especially like history and community. And I think, there's so much, especially queer history that was only verbal. So much of it got erased. And I
Right.
just, especially when I was traveling last year on tour, I was like, how can I go to each a queer space in each city and sort of learn all about this? And that to me is sort of like, I guess it's not really about coming out, but all of that was still like present when I was, a senior in high school. And I was like, no, I just like, I'm so happy to be gay. Like, and I even to this day, I'm like, my life is so much better because I was gay. Like, I
Right.
think that all the time. I think about the community and being able to live in New York and the opportunities. Like, I just am so grateful for it,
Yeah.
you know?
I vibe with that a lot.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get here, but I'm at the point now where I'm like, I'm so fucking glad I'm gay. I'm so proud that I'm gay. And
Right.
my life is so much fucking cooler. I'm cooler because I'm gay. I'd be
Right.
such a fucking boring straight white dude. Like, oh my God. Thank
Yes.
God.
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm the same way. I mean, I think about like what I could have, what if I would have married the, the girl, my
Mhm.
girlfriend, you know,
yeah.
and I, I just think about how miserable I would have been, because I went through depression too, like you, Lawrence. There was a point where I wanted to die. I came from a religious household, and I didn't want to go through with actually killing myself. So I prayed to God that He would kill me. You know, like I didn't want to do it myself. So like, please, I can't, because I can't. I'm not going to change. I can't change.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so you might as
Friend,
well just.
I like to joke, like if Pray Away the Gay was a real thing, I would
Oh
be
yeah,
the
yeah,
straightest dude in the fuck. I would have a 14-inch dick. I would fuck every woman on the planet. I would have 100 babies in every city. I would be so fucking straight. Like you
yeah,
cannot
yeah.
pray away the gay. I have
Right.
tried with literally every deity I could think of. Even
Just try them
Satan, for
all.
God's sake.
Mhm.
Oh, New York.
Oh,
Hello.
yep. Okay, we're good.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, I'm sorry, man. I'm
Yeah.
sorry you went through that, and I
Yeah.
really I feel it because I
I mean,
me too.
I'm definitely better now. I mean, I've a control over my depression. I know when the signs are there, and I've gotten to the point where I kind of like you, Lawrence, where I was like, God accepts me for who I am, and
Yeah,
I'm not worried about any of that anymore, So I'm good now.
yeah,
It's just, I still have things to deal with, my family and whatnot. There might be a little conflict there, but it's not gonna stop me from, living the life I want.
yeah, yeah. I hear you. I you know, I've gotten to a point where not only am I just happy and delighted to be gay, but I don't try to hide. I mean, I do think about wearing this shirt outside in Fort Wayne, Indiana, but
Right.
I'm not going
Yeah.
to deny who I am or obscure who I am for anybody. And I'm also not putting up with any bullshit. Like thank goodness for me, I'm a big burly dude. Like if someone wants to come at me, we can rumble. Um, so my experiences with National Coming Out Day, honestly, were mostly online, right?
Mm.
Back in 2006 when Facebook was brand new, you know, I remember on National Coming Out Day, like posting a photo and being like, here I am at Gay Pride, like happy National Coming Out Day. I'm gay. And, like
Yeah.
people from high school or whatever being like, oh my God. So that was kind of my biggest experience was online in terms of coming
Yeah.
out in a very public way and having people who might not have known, that they necessarily, I'm like, first of all, I don't know how you didn't know.
Yeah.
Because it's funny to me because like in high school, I would have died if anyone had guessed that I was gay. Like I actively tried to pitch my voice lower and make sure that there was no lisp whatsoever and,
Mhm.
kind of pretend, right? And now I don't care. And all the time people are like, oh, I had no idea you were gay. And I'm like, how? I fucking talk about Drag Race 24 hours a day, like
Mhm.
I will actively tell you who my favorite queens are, chiffon
Yeah.
and purses fall out of my mouth, like I just don't, how do you, okay,
Yeah.
let me tell you about my boyfriend's penis and how much I love it.
It's also so interesting when people, like, say that, like, they still think it's a compliment.
Right.
Not so much now, but, like, especially, like, when I was younger and going through college, people are like, "Oh my god, I couldn't even tell," like, with the
Yeah.
implication that I was like, "Good for you."
Right.
And granted, like, going to school for theater, like, unfortunately, that was, like I was like, "Oh my god, thank god, like, I can still play all these roles," and thank god, like which, like, really gave me some pause for how I wanted to present in the world, but
Sure.
it is an interesting fact. I also came out on Facebook, by the way, just before I was like, "I have to do it before school starts." So my status was, "Let's get one thing straight, I'm not." And then I changed my profile picture to a rainbow flag.
Nice.
And then I was like, "Okay,
Oh,
everyone at
yes.
school knows now," and then we started school.
I love that. And
Yeah.
like the first day, were you like walking through the hallways and people were throwing glitter at you and
I mean, not glitter, but the student body, like, the student council head, that teacher, she did give me a certificate of bravery. Which
okay.
Oh, wow.
it was really funny because also, like, again, like, I feel so very fortunate that, like, it was scary, but it wasn't, terrifying, I
Right.
think, or maybe intense. I sorta just was like, I wish everyone just knew. Like, I didn't wanna have to go through the process of telling everyone. I was like, I just wish everyone knew, and that was
Yeah.
how it was. But she gave it to me, and I was so embarrassed, but I was like, "Thank you." She meant very well.
So
Yeah.
what would that have been like 2011, 2012? That kind of
2012, fall of 2012.
okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. Well, not to bring the conversation down, but Brandon, I know you wanted to talk about
Yeah.
Matthew Shepard, and I mean, sorry for framing it that way. Like, I still like die a little inside every time I think about Matthew Shepard. Like, that was a
Yeah.
huge piece of the kind of coming out puzzle and story for me.
Yeah. And he he grew up around the same time that I did,
Yeah,
and even if I had any kind of inclination of coming out, hearing that No, no way. I mean, because, well, if for those who don't know, Matthew Shepard was a young college student in Wyoming, and he went into a bar and was offered a ride home from two guys who pretended to be gay to get him into the truck with him. And on the way there, one of them took out a gun and started hitting him with it. Later, he alleged that Matthew had made a move, like he touched his leg or something, which didn't make a lot of sense because he said it was after he took the gun out. It's like, why would you make a move on a guy with a gun held to you? You know what I mean? It doesn't.
Right.
I think he was. I don't know. I think he was coming up with excuses or whatever. Because
Yeah.
later in the trial, the defense lawyer used the gay panic defense.
Sure.
You know. So anyway, they took him out in the middle of nowhere, beat him, and tied him to a fence. Sorry, I every time I talk about it or write about it, I start to get emotional.
Yeah. I
Of
mean,
course.
it's
I mean, I didn't know him personally, but I always think that he I could have been him. You know what I mean? Like,
same.
he was in a rural area. I was in a different state, but it's not dissimilar, really. And so anyway, they tied him to a fence, left him there to die. He was found. He was still alive, but
Yeah.
very severely beaten and unconscious. And he was taken to the hospital and never regained consciousness and died 6 days after the attack. And yeah, it was. I wrote an article about it. I haven't published. I think I'm going to publish it on Monday on Substack, but tomorrow marks 27 years since it happened. I think I don't know if it's the incident or his death, but I can't remember now. I've lost,
Yeah.
Mhm.
But anyway, the two guys involved were found guilty of kidnapping and robbery, and well, first it was attempted murder until he died, and then it was upgraded to first degree murder.
Right.
One of them pled guilty and got 2 consecutive life sentences, and the other one, he was eligible for the death penalty, but Matthew's father and, well, I guess his parents worked to deal with the lawyers to have that removed. And his father uh, read a statement directed toward Aaron McKinney and said, "I'm going to grant you life." You know,
Right. Which you did not do for my son, but I'm going to do for you.
right,
I remember being so moved by that statement and how powerful it was that his parents, in this unthinkable moment of tragedy, still managed to embody what we think of are supposed to be Christian values, right? Like forgiveness,
right,
like profound forgiveness for something that is unforgivable. Yeah, it was such a transformational event. And I'm seeing in the comments, y'all, I'm sorry I'm not keeping up on the comments today. But it I see a lot of love in the comments, and also it was a huge deal for the country. Like it really was. It kind of hit at a time where it was almost like the key that sort of unlocked some additional level
yeah,
of empathy, at least, because there was nobody that could look at pictures of Matthew Shepard and not see themselves or their son or their best friend or a kid that they know, right? Like the cute harmless kid who just wanted fucking friends, right? And I mean, wanted to get laid too, probably, but like never
Right.
should. We don't even know that he explicitly hit on these guys, right? Like
Right.
their story as narrators is so unreliable. We have no idea what was said or what was done, and none of
Yeah,
it
and
forgives what happened.
it's hard too because, well, in the I watched the documentary Matthew Shepard, an American hate crime, and they played the recording from the investigators' interview, the interrogation, and Aaron McKinney, when the investigator asked him, what did he look like, and he said, looked like a queer dude, and the investigator said, like a queer dude. He said, yeah, like a fag. So it's obvious that he recognized that he was gay. I don't think there's any question that it was a hate crime, you know?
Yeah.
And some people later tried to downplay it and said it was a robbery gone bad or anything like that, things like that. But from just that interview, and then the girlfriend of one of the two said that how much he talked about he didn't like gay people, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah.
And then Matthew's mother, she worked a lot with lawmakers and was trying to get the hate crime law passed. There was a hate crime law, but it only included race, religion, national origin, that kind of thing.
Right.
And they worked for several years. I think it was 11 years later, when Barack Obama was president. He finally signed the bill into law to include. Well, I've got it somewhere here. I was going to say what it was, but so the hate crime now, when it was changed, it said any act that includes a crime that is motivated by prejudice based on the actual or perceived race, color, religion, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability of the victim, or is a violation of the state, local, or tribal hate crime laws.
Yeah.
So that was an important moment.
Yeah.
A big transformational event. And, I don't know that I'm necessarily connecting two things that maybe aren't completely connected, but I feel like it was after that kind of the idea that we need to come out to the people around us so that, you know, the average American can have the experience of like, oh my gosh, I do know gay people, right? Like, there's a gay couple down the street and they seem totally normal, whatever that means,
Yeah.
right? So it's a big deal. And I really do think that it was one of the things that led to, when you think about it in the scope of history, the pretty rapid change of minds that happened in this country over the course of the last 30 years around the acceptance of, queer people and gay marriage and kind of the movement towards liberations that we've seen. Um, Speaking of gay marriage, and to maybe shift us onto happier territory, Aidan, I warned you I was going to do this, but I
Yeah.
can't not fangirl for a moment over the beautiful, beautiful wedding that you and your now husband celebrated. Brandon, I want to thank you for bringing up the topic of Matthew Shepard and just honor, his memory and that experience, and you for helping us to remember on this day. But let's talk about gay weddings.
Well, and okay, this,
The
believe it or not,
smoothest
there
segue
actually
ever.
is a segue between that. There's a really beautiful song by Ricky Ian Gordon called "A Horse with Wings" about Matthew Shepard.
Mm.
Okay.
And my sort of introduction to theater and voice lessons was this performing arts festival back home. And I'm sorry, there's so much honking.
You're good.
And that was one of the songs that I was assigned. And the town that I grew up in was very cowboy town. Hawaii has one of the largest privately owned ranches, if not the largest in the country. Cowboy culture is huge. Country music is huge. And the aesthetic, even though most people think of beach, it's like pretty high elevation. So it is a lot of like grassland and scrubland and big sort of like pastures and all of this. And so I was assigned this song and I was like, oh, I don't actually know this. I think I was 14, maybe 15. And that was my introduction. And all of the imagery in the song, doing all the research, so ties into actually like the town I grew up in. And that was my introduction. I was like, and I think a big part of why I felt the need to be so importantly visible, or not, why it felt so important to be visible. And sort of like, especially in seeing all the chats, like if something terrible happens, when something terrible happens, how you deal with it and how you can use it to sort of make change in that way.
Hmm.
So I was really grateful for that introduction in that way. And then segue was also
Nicely
very
done.
close to where I got married, and I think it is Hawaii. There is like again like a very strong religious population. Like the missionaries came over and converted a lot of people, and so there is this really interesting dichotomy, like a heavy Mormon presence, heavy Catholic presence, and yet everyone is very kind and everyone is very accepting. And so even like my high school ended up donating like half of the stuff for our wedding. My best friend who lives there donated the other half. So the wedding was in August, the beginning of August. It was just immediate family and like 12 of our closest friends. And it was a really intense experience. I think, anyone could have told us, but we didn't listen, that it's a lot more work than you thought. We're very intentional about our relationship. And so I kept saying, like, this feels like the wedding that is perfectly symbolic of our relationship. It has taken a lot of time and care, and we've like really taken everything apart to figure out how we want to do it and what we want to do and then put it all back together, which is how we approach our relationship. And so we sort of like divided the days to give people like a good introduction to the island. We went to the yurt I grew up in, my childhood home. And it was really cool because I don't often get people visiting my childhood home. Like it's really hard to get from New York to Hawaii. It's long, it's expensive. And so to have like all of our nearest and dearest people there was really, really incredibly special. And we like divided our time. We had one day that was just friends. We had one day that was just family. And then our families like really came together to do so much for the wedding. One of my sisters like planned the whole meal. My other sister and my mom like did all of the tables, and they went foraging for foliage to like do the table centerpieces. And my brother like also helped. My dad cooked. My brother helped set up and take down. My sister's partner like strung up all these like really incredible lights for us, and all of our friends had little jobs. Like it was really just this moment where we looked around and got to be so like everyone bought in the right way. And so we did like a little on the day of cocktail hour at my dad's place, and then walked down to his neighbor's house who said we could, stand on the beach in her yard. And we did our ceremony, and we didn't have an officiant. We felt really strongly that we wanted to officiate ourselves because we felt that it didn't make sense to have someone else talk to our people about our relationship. I was like, I want to talk about it. And our theme was thanking all of the people who had helped us get to marriage. And like I think I cried probably like 28 times. I think 22, I think actually was the final count. So we like talked about love, and then we went around and like thanked each group of people, like our friends and the in-laws and siblings. And then did our vows to each other and went back for this like magnificent dinner at my dad's, and it was very us. And it felt just like so profoundly special to be able to share that with everyone and like really take the time to be like, we are so grateful. And to me, especially, and also Casey, like community is so vital. And so to be able to celebrate it in that way just was really Special. I can't keep saying special.
Anytime. We get it. The English language isn't really helping us out. We need more
No, it's
words.
not. And then like afterwards, like everyone was walking back and it like started raining and I love beach rain. I think it's the coolest thing.
For
And it was
sure.
a full moon and it was 8/8, which apparently numerologically is really special. So we felt really grateful. It was
That's
a real
amazing.
work of community.
All right. I mean, relationship and wedding goals.
It was well, it's funny.
Yeah.
I told my brother, and my brother's great and sometimes likes to tease me where I was like, yeah, it's just like our relationship. It's super complicated. It's a lot of work. And then it's like really great payoff. And he goes, uh-huh. And like your relationship, there are a lot of people involved.
That,
And I was like, thank you.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Which was funny. Like even in Casey's vows, like he said, like, I promise to help you like kiss as many boys as possible. Like it was like a very, I don't know, it just felt like a really cool,
Such a gay,
wonderful.
it's like such an open relationship, gay boy.
Right.
I am going to find the dicks that you can put in your mouth, baby.
Right. And like as somebody like I was obviously the person who like initiated all these conversations a couple years ago, but to hear him echo them, like I didn't, like in front of all our people, like really made me feel very seen in a lovely way.
That is awesome. Congratulations to both of you. And I love it because I wanted to kind of segue and maybe end this, we're getting close to the top of the hour, kind of talk about what is possible. And
Yeah.
let me back up. Anything is possible in a straight relationship as well. I'm not kind of holding queer relationships up as like we're the paragon of, sexual exploration and whatnot. But I do think gay relationships have, in a lot of ways, led the culture in terms of exploring non-monogamous ways of being in partnership. And I'm in an open relationship with a long distance boyfriend. Can talk about that. But I'd love to hear Aidan and Brandon. I know you get around, girl. But I don't know. I feel like there's adventure and exploration that's available in gay relationships that maybe isn't necessarily baked into straight relationships. What do you guys think?
I mean, I could talk about this forever.
Brandon,
I'm like,
jump in,
Brandon, do you
jump
want to
in.
start us off?
Well, yeah, I've been in a few relationships with guys. They were not open relationships. And actually, the first time I ever corresponded with Aidan is we did collaborating on an article together about open relationships, and it was kind of a question and answer thing. I responded to one of his articles, and I was like, I would not do an open relationship. I
was like,
couldn't see
let's
myself.
talk about it.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I still have the same ideas about it. Like, because I'm just my personality. I have a very, I'm insecure and I have, self-esteem issues. So I feel like if I was with somebody and they brought up the idea, wanted to, explore with somebody else, I'd be like, well, aren't I enough? What?
Right.
That kind
a
of
very
thing.
common feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm not sure that would ever go away. But I do explore single relationships. I'm still on all the dating apps and I hook up with guys and stuff. But one of my stipulations is I don't want to hook up with anybody that's in a relationship. I don't want to be the one to, and I know that it's the other person's decision too, but I don't want to be part of breaking anybody apart or causing any discourse in somebody else's relationship,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of my, I'm not sure I answered any question or anything,
No.
but that's,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, my story is kind of one of, I don't want to call it progress, right? Because I don't necessarily want to privilege the perception that like, oh, I've evolved and now I can be open.
yeah.
But my journey is different than what I thought it would be when I was a kid, right? Like I was very like monogamy, house, kids, marriage, same partner forever kind of thing. And I'm at a point now where um I've been married twice. In both cases, they were open relationships. In both cases, it didn't work. So I have been deconstructing and trying to rebuild my own personal understanding of relationships. And I'm in a relationship now with somebody who I'm crazy sexually attracted to. We're very much in love. And it's the first time I feel fully comfortable being open because I know this dude adores me, right? And having that baked in from the very beginning has, and for me, like Brendan, I have been very insecure and jealous, right? Uh, and then who knew I'd be this big burly bear daddy that, like I hit my 50s and suddenly everyone is like bear daddy, like I get more than my fair share of attention, I feel like. And that kind of makes a difference too, right? There's a certain, I don't know, liberation in being like, oh, I guess I am desirable. So, my journey has been kind of complicated and I'm at the place that I'm at now only because I've tried the stuff that I thought would work. I like my first marriage, we were monogamous and then we opened things up, like we could talk about all the details, but like I've tried this stuff and I'm at a place now where I'm like, I'm going to try the things that I didn't think I would try before because the stuff that I thought would work didn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Aidan, I know you're maybe an advocate for, like you're in an open relationship. Like,
Yeah.
how would you describe yourself?
I've like actually really, especially the last 2 week articles I wrote yesterday and Wednesday were both about sort of like tenets of openness that like really had a response that I like wasn't expecting. And I've always for a long time like really felt like this is my calling to talk about because I think it is so common. I think everyone has really strong opinions about it. And yet we don't look at it with the same sort of like respect and care that we look at monogamous relationships. And
Mhm.
I think it stems from like I do a lot of writing about the Disneyification essentially of our relationships where it's not that you're like not enough for a partner, but it's like none of us are like exactly the right fit for anyone,
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think with Casey, like I from a pretty early point was like my parents have had a really strange relationship. I moved to New York and dated a throuple and dated a couple, and I've seen all of these different types of relationships. And I was like, whatever kind of relationship we have, I want to make sure that we're choosing it really intentionally based on what we want and what works for us.
Yeah.
And I love life and I love the experiences of life and I want to experience everything I can. And so why would I not want that for my partner? And I know that there are things that I can't be for him. I can't change my appearance. I can't change my weight, my size. Like I am who I am, my age, if he wants other experiences. If we're out dancing and he like wants to kiss someone, I'm like, why not? And I think what most people are afraid of is like the jealousy of not feeling enough. And it took us a really long time to work through that, but we wouldn't have done it otherwise. Like we dealt with some really intense abandonment issues and really learned that what we thought was trust wasn't the right kind of trust. And
Yeah.
all of that stemmed from like intense feelings of jealousy or fear. And I was like, well, what are we feeling fearful of? Okay, we're feeling left out. Okay, so we have these like feelings of left out that like come from childhood. How can we fix those? Like, I don't advocate as well that I'm like, this is the, evolved relationship for everyone. I think it's much harder for heterosexual couples. The gender divide is much harder to overcome.
Sure.
But, we're in the midst of this crazy loneliness epidemic, especially among queer people. Our phones and social media are fracturing us so quickly.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the only way that we can fix this is by starting with our personal relationships. And that's friendships, family, coworkers, partners, friends you have sex with. Like there's so many out there. And I'm come from a place where I was like, I don't want to close myself off to any of those. We're Casey, our communication is really strong that we talk about everything beforehand, we figure it out, and we let each other thrive as
Yeah.
best we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That That's amazing. That's great.
That's my TED talk.
No, right. Thanks for coming to my TED talk. We're bumping right up against the top of the hour. I feel like I could talk to you guys for hours, and we should probably do this again.
Yeah.
Aidan, I loved what you just said. So much of it resonates with me. Like I've encountered a lot of those issues too, and also, really digging into um, where is this rooted in me? Like
Right.
it's almost like somatic therapy. It's like, okay, well, I'm feeling jealous. Where does that jealousy live in my body? Oh, it's my heart, and it makes me feel like I can't breathe, and like
Right.
really just kind of unpacking that and figuring out where does that come from?
Right.
And for me, a lot of it is just very early childhood, not feeling loved, not feeling appreciated, not feeling seen.
Yes.
And so for me, sort of this path into openness has really been a journey into healing some of my earliest wounds, which I kind of feel like is part of what we're here for as people, is to figure out how we can fix ourselves so that we can help fix the world around us,
Amen.
Gentlemen, this has been such an honor, right? Yeah, yes. Yeah, duck walk, yes. Let's drop. So much fun talking to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your Saturday and a great National Coming Out Day. Aidan, give that hunky husband of yours a hug from us.
I will.
Brandon, you and I will hop on the apps.
Yeah.
To find somebody to hug and kiss.
That's right.
Everybody else, I hope you have a wonderful day. Yeah. Thanks for being here. Let's talk again soon.
Yes, please. This was great.
Yes, thanks. It's great. Thank you,
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Love you. Mean it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.